Today I'm going to talk about something I don't think I've ever really understood and still don't really understand: glutes. .55 miles, 9 minutes, 14 seconds per mile, and 134 beats per minute today. Going for just a regular easy run today, trying to get some miles in to start off the week. A beautiful day out there, beautiful temperatures, a lovely run. I wish I could say it was a completely pain-free run, but I did have a little bit of that lingering knee issue resurface today that has got me along this path of glute activation and incorporating the glutes, using the glutes, focusing more of the glutes, being mindful of the glutes. There's just a million ways to say it. And none of those things do I really understand when people are saying that. You guys have been telling me in comments for a very long time now, usually when I post stuff about leg strength exercises, that I'm not using glutes more, or I need to be using glutes more. I still don't really understand what a lot of those comments mean. I know you guys have been trying really hard to kind of help me out with that. And so I've been trying to figure that out a little bit more as well, and it's confusing. So some of the kind of symptoms that lead me this way are, I mentioned the knee. I made a video a little while back about Saucony shoes and how they tend to make my knee hurt, more specifically my right knee. And I don't think it's necessarily that there's anything wrong with those shoes. In fact, I really like them. But I was taking a little bit of a break from them to see how that would affect how my knee feels. And when I took a break, things appeared to get a lot better. Not 100% right away, but things did start to improve pretty quickly. And then last week, I made a couple of Saucony videos where I think I ran in them 2 or 3 days in a pretty condensed period. And then the knee kind of issue flared up again. But again, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with the shoe. There's something that those shoes kind of highlight in my running that may be an imbalance. And so that has me kind of doing more research again. Now, I've been doing a lot of leg strength exercises, thinking that maybe there's some musculature like around the knee that can use some more stabilizing or strengthening, because I definitely feel like I've been neglecting everything except for like the forward motion of running. And so like yoga, leg strength, mobility, like doing those kinds of things have been stuff that I've been trying to incorporate a little bit more. But like yoga, I don't love yoga. I want to love yoga, but I don't. I just think it's too slow for me. I think my mind is just too cluttered to be able to sit still, or what feels like just sitting still for long enough. And so I'm still kind of looking for that thing that will resonate with me, that I can not only want to incorporate into my routine, but actually will incorporate into my routine. So I've been looking at some other videos about, and some of them have some pretty crazy claims, like you run pain-free, fix runner's knee, instantly fix XYZ by doing glute activation. There's like a ton of videos about this, and there's so many different exercises to do, so it can get very overwhelming. But having watched like a bunch of them on YouTube, just trying to figure things out, there's a couple of like patterns that I kept seeing, that things that kind of resonated with me, is that a lot of time during higher intensity weeks, what I will feel is tightness in my hip, and more specifically in my right hip, which is the same side where I'm experiencing some of the knee discomfort. And so a lot of times I'll do a lot of stretching, and I'll feel like right at that point where like the femur inserts into the hip socket, that's where I feel like if I could like put some pressure right in that spot, like almost behind the femoral head, that's where it feels like really like painful / good to be massaging. So that's kind of one thing that I've noticed. The other thing that I noticed is for years, I remember this from like running cross country in high school. Whenever I get very fatigued, I will get like a horizontal line of dirt across my calves, because I think as I'm running through, my one leg is like scraping against the other. once I get very tired. It doesn't happen like every stride, but it does happen quite a bit. And other things are that on certain very long, faster runs, I will sometimes experience low back pain. Nothing that hurts, nothing that like, oh, I threw out my back, but like I'll be running and all of a sudden I'll feel, oh, my back kind of doesn't feel great. What's that all about? So I think these are all different symptoms pointing at kind of the same thing, which I think could be some muscle imbalance or glute sleepiness, glute amnesia. There's just so many weird terms that people use to kind of throw at this. And here's the thing that I don't really get about it all is like they call this, like a lot of people are calling it like glute activation. Like you have to turn on your glutes. And so you do certain exercises before you run and then it turns things on. That, like conceptually, I have a really hard time with that. I'm not sure how much that makes sense. Like if you turn them on, do you need to make sure they're staying on? How long does the turning on last for? If I activate glutes and then like go walk the dog, do I got to reactivate them, or am I still good for like 15 minutes? Like I'm not sure how all that kind of works. And so but I've been trying it. I was like, you know what? I think enough of it makes sense that even though I don't maybe understand it all the time, like why does, if it's a big muscle, why does it, even when I'm wanting to use it, not just start being used? I don't kind of get all those things. I thought there's enough of this going around in terms of like ideas, not going around, but the ideas around this concept that, you know, let's just try it first. Who cares if I don't understand it for the moment, and just give it a shot. So I've been doing that. And some of these exercises that I've picked, there's so many to kind of choose from, but I narrowed it down to two that I like, which are, I think, are they hip thrusts or glute bridges? I'm still having a hard time understanding the difference between the two. I think I'm doing glute bridges and clamshells. Like those are two that I like. I also kind of like donkey kicks and like lateral leg raises. Like those, I can definitely feel that like I'm using something that is a little bit uncomfortable, not in a painful way, but like, oh, this is something that doesn't get used enough. So I feel like there's kind of like something there. Maybe there's something there to it. And then I'm also trying to be mindful or like make sure that I'm like using all of the muscles in my legs, all the way from like the ankle all the way up to the hip, as I'm running, and trying to incorporate that. So kind of like two things, some things for beforehand and some things like for during. And it's only been a handful of days, so definitely too early to really tell. I'm still feeling some knee discomfort. So it's not like, you know, glutes activated, knee fixed. It hasn't been like that quick. And sometimes I'm still feeling the same level of discomfort. Other times when I'm thinking, what seems to work more for me is when I try to be mindful of like foot strike and are all the muscles being used. That's when things tend to go the best, but it's also not a complete guarantee of having like a pain-free run. So I don't know if that just means like none of this is working for me and I'm looking in the wrong space. I think I'm kind of looking in the right space, but I think I just need more time. Maybe need to look at some more videos and try to kind of figure it out. Sometimes there are concepts that for me, I like to think that I'm relatively quick and can pick things up fast, but sometimes there are certain concepts that it takes me like 4 or 5 times, maybe 10, 11, for it to really sink in. And then sometimes there's just certain parts that I have to like ignore or like just kind of put to the side the way that people are explaining it and try to like figure out my own way to kind of understand it or grasp it. I might be at that point now. I'm definitely not completely understanding it, but it's something that a lot of people are talking about. I'm sure that a lot of you guys who are watching like these kinds of videos, like my videos, are probably also getting fed that on YouTube too and kind of seeing that, and maybe you understand it, maybe you don't. If you understand it, and I've kind of come at it in a way that's very different from the way you understand it, or you know it in a different way that I haven't kind of laid out here, let me know, because I'm still trying to figure it all out. It's definitely the kind of thing that I'd prefer to go see like a physical therapist to do it, but just not something that I think I need to do from like a medical necessity. And it's still, September of 2020. So just going to see how much longer I can hold off on that. Other things that I'm holding off on, just incidentally, is I lost a filling a little while ago. It popped out while I was flossing, and I'd like to get that refilled, but going to hold off on that too, because I don't think it's absolutely necessary, and hopefully it stays that way. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, whatever you want to do. But for now, this is kind of the direction that I'm going to go. I don't know if it's ultimately going to work or not, but I thought I'd let you guys know where I'm at, what I'm doing, letting you know like how I, as a non-elite runner, just like a regular dude that runs a lot, can notice something and try and just figure things out and see what that process is like when I stumble through it by myself. Yeah, it's going to be a complete train wreck. It probably will be. Anyway, that's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video and humoring me with that. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?